Today, we're talking about how to convert consults into clients. And now I just want to do a quick poll. How many of you are in solo private practice? Drop the word solo. And how many of you are in group? Really curious. Please tell me. Solo. Let's see. Lots of solos. Great. You are in the right place. And if you're in a group, I also work with a lot of group practice owners. Amazing. Okay. I am a psychologist and I am in Toronto, Canada. And I'm also a business coach working with psychotherapists all over Canada and all over the States. I want to know first, because I really want you to get the most of this hour. And before I even ask you this question, I really want to acknowledge you. You are a different type of practitioner. You're a different type of therapist. I know that you are so busy and you are giving me this hour to work on your business instead of in your business. And that is massive. The majority of your colleagues right now are not doing that. They're banging out all the clients. But those who will truly grow are those that are actually going to work on their business. I want to know what you are struggling with the most right now. Tell me in the chat, specifically related to consult calls. What are you struggling with? Are you not getting them? Tell me that. Are they not converting? Tell me that, just so I can get a real sense of what is your biggest struggle right now. And let me describe what I mean as you throw things in the chat about consult calls. So what is a consult call? As a psychologist, so I'm mostly speaking to mental health professionals, but of course you can relate this to your practice. I highly suggest that you offer a free, absolutely free consultation with you before they choose to work with you. Somebody in my business coaching program, just the month of March, okay, last month, she was not offering consults. She's like, nah, honestly, Nicole, I've grown without them. And I said, can you at least try it? And she did. And in the month of March, she made an extra 10 grand because we track all of their metrics. So I'm so happy that you are open to doing this. And I'm going to teach you the right way to do it so you can help more people and make more money and even have more freedom, which we'll talk about a bit later. Okay, so I see lots in the chat. Yes. Okay, difficulty. Yes, reaching potential clients in general. I want you to know if you are struggling in any way, and you probably are a little bit because you're here, it is not your fault. They taught us nothing about business in graduate school, or at least the graduate school that I went to learn to be a psychologist. Tell me in the chat, did you learn anything about business in graduate school? Anything? Any marketing, sales, zeros? Yes, zero people are saying accounting, HR, like none of it. And I grew into a group practice, which I'll tell you about in a second. And feeling really lost until I figured out what to do. So if you're feeling lost, you're in the right place. I went through so much trial and error, and I really and then I was able to figure it out. So first of all, I'm really curious, are we already friends? So do you already follow me? Just let me know in the chat so I get a sense. If you follow me already on Instagram, like IG, drop IG. If you follow me on Facebook, drop Facebook. Or if you've been to one of my webinars, tell me, just so I get a sense. Are we brand new friends? Yay. Some new friends, some old friends. Tell me. Okay, guys, I'm so excited to meet you officially. Would it be okay, since we just met, some of us, most of us, it looks like, if I tell you a little bit about me just for a second, because this matters. So I'm a psychologist, as I mentioned, in Toronto, and I'm now a business coach. And let me just tell you how all of that happened, because this is possible for you. I built a group practice in 2018, and in 3 years was able to scale it to 55 therapists and multiple 7 figures from nothing. Meaning I had a solo practice for 15 years, probably like a lot of you. And then I was like, you know what? I really want to help more people. And honestly, I was pregnant with twins. And so I wanted more freedom. And I started to build. And I want you to know that this is possible. Specifically, this might feel a bit weird because we just met. I'm going to drop some numbers. But I'm telling you this because a lot of therapists don't know the impact we can make. In our second year of my group practice, we reached $1 million from nothing, like new website, new brand, new everything. And then in our third year, 3 million. Here's what I'm so proud of the most, because I had really young babies at the time. It was automated, meaning it ran itself, meaning it was like a revenue generating machine. And then one day, a psychiatrist approached me and wanted to buy it. And then I sold it in June, 6 months ago, year four, I let it go. So today I'm going to give you a little tiny bit of the tools of how I got there. And I'm curious, how many of you have a dream? And maybe it's like a secret dream that you really never said out loud. And this might be the first time of having your own group, your own clinic. Like you are a boss, you've got other people working for you. Tell me in the chat, just drop yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, yay, 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 yay. Okay, you're my type of people, amazing. And if not, that's okay. The thing is though, I want to give you the tools to get you really, really busy so that there might come a time where you're like, oh wait, I actually don't want to be this busy anymore. So maybe I need to hire. If you end up working with a business coach of any type, just make sure that they are in your field, like a therapist, because my field is highly regulated. And a lot of the marketing strategies, you guys notice this, that we're not allowed to do. We can't take testimonials. We can't DM our clients. We hide as therapists, hide from their clients. So just know that whatever marketing you do to get even more consults, please, please work with a therapist who knows the things to do and grow ethically. All right. Are you ready? Okay. My first question, let's dive right in. First of all, do you currently offer consults and how long are they? Please drop if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I really am curious. 15, Stephanie says, 15, Danielle. Okay. Some 20s. Awesome. Dawn's 15. Okay. So it looks like 15 or 20. I highly suggest them be 20 minutes long. And here's why. And again, this pertains if you're a psychotherapist or really anybody in the helping profession, you need 15 minutes to build that rapport. And I'm going to give you a script later. Yes, an exact script that converts. But then you need 5 minutes to actually book the appointment. I think 15 is not enough for them to like you and trust you and book the appointment and get their credit card and go over the cancellation policy and all the things I'm going to teach you today. So just ponder that. Just ponder that. Because it could be as simple as making it a little bit longer that will make the difference. Here's my second question. What is your conversion rate? Do you know your conversion rate? I'll explain what that is. If you do 10 calls, how many of those 90% says perfect? Perfect. Stefani says 90, Ann says 72. Really good. Still 80. Okay, great. Yes. So really good. So I'm glad you know it. If some of you are like, oh, that's a good question, I'm not tracking that, jot that down. And I'd like you to compare your conversion rate before we met today. So as of yesterday, and then after you implement everything you learned today, compare your conversion rate after. Okay, a lot of 80s, you guys are killing it. Do you use a script? Does anybody here have a script? You're probably like, what? A script? No. Okay, probably a lot of no's. Some yeses. Okay, good, sort of, yeah. I don't do well with like actual scripts. I would be really robotic and kind of weird, honestly, and nobody would want to talk to me. But what I'm going to give you is a bit of the things you have to touch on, and I'll give you it actually like in a form that you can tangibly hold. What I love about this, you're going to master it, and then you can standardize it. And then when you hire, if you end up being, my goal for you is you get so busy, you need to hire. And when you hire, it is 26 degrees today in Toronto. It is noon here. You get the freedom to be like, you know what? My clients can be seen by other people. I want the freedom to go do something else. So I'm going to give it to you. You're going to master it. But I also would love you to eventually standardize it and give it to your hires. My group practice people, that's what I suggest that you do. That is the beginning of automation. So let me walk you through first the process. You absolutely want your free consults to be going to your online booking. Yes, thank you, Jane, for providing us amazing online booking. Are you doing that? If I go to your website right now and I click book now, please have a book now button. You need one. This was my secret. This is all I did in my big clinic in Toronto. So my for the Toronto people, I had a bricks and mortar, 7,000 square feet at Bloor and Islington, for if you know Toronto well. And this is what I did. Book now takes me to online booking. How many of you? Okay, so some no's and some yeses. We are so lucky to live in a world that we have online booking. Our parents, if they owned businesses, it was all call my admin. That is officially old school. It is old school. I know that's a big statement. You know why? Your admin is your bottleneck. Your admin is your bottleneck. I was coaching yesterday and someone said she's tracking her consults just like I teach her. And she said, it's funny, 8 consults didn't book and they all went to my admin. And then we looked at how long a human being, a busy human being, takes to respond to these people. And when people want therapy, they want it now. And guess what? The online booking allows them to book that free consult right now. Does anybody know how the busiest time where people are booking online? Does anybody know? There's a specific time of day where people are booking their appointments. They're on your website, on your online book. Jane would know this probably. Yes, yes, yes. You've been to enough Jane webinars. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. when your admin is not there and where you should not be doing anything except hanging out with your kids or watching your favorite TV show. So honestly, what happened for me is I did have it going to my admin because I didn't have any business training. So a lot of what I'm telling you is lived experience. Here's what happened. I grew very fast, as you know, 55 therapists. You know how many calls we would get? The phone started ringing every 10 minutes. Do you know how annoying the sound of a ring? Does anybody remember what it sounds like when your phone rings? Barely anybody does, I know. And also when you're in the waiting room as a client and you hear the admin talking and the phone ringing, that is not calming for the nervous system. And then that's not I wanted like a spa-like waiting room. We got to 40 consults in a week. And when I moved from my admin to my online booking, those were 40 things she was not doing and 40 things I was not paying for. Yes. I hope that convinces you enough. Let the people book and then they're done. And they're not going through a human who ends up being the bottleneck. Okay, here's the exciting part, my friends. I want you to open up your online booking. We're going in. Oh yes, we're going in. Don't be afraid. Open it up right now. Go in there, go in there. I'm gonna give you a second. If you're driving, don't do this. Okay, are you in? Okay, pretend you're a client. Go click on, I hope you have online booking, by the way, but if you offer consults, pretend you're a client. Do you offer a consult within 48 hours? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. Within 48 hours. If I'm a client, oh, good. Kyle says yes. So many yeses. Okay. So if I'm a client, I can book right away. And if you don't have your consults on there, you're going to add those and that's going to be your goal. Some of you say, nope, shoot, no, you can't get in with me that soon, or you can't get in with my team that soon. If I can't get in with you within 2 days, you need to do 2 things. 1, you need to hire, which is actually great news because that means you grow and, you know, all the good things. Or you need to open up your schedule, which I don't love that idea because then you're just going to pretend if you don't have it, then you're already very booked, right? And probably can't work more. That's where I was before I expanded. Here's why. You're probably wondering, well, like, why? Why is that important? Here's why. If you allow people to book within 2 days, within 48 hours, it reduces your no-show rate every time. It reduces your no-show rate. Think about it. We all know this. People wait way too long for help. By the time I land on your booking page, I'm already in so much emotional or physical pain, whatever it is, and what type of practitioner. We all know this. It's human behavior. We put things off. And in my therapy world, people are at their wits' end with their life by the time they book. So I want to make it really available that you get to talk to a human for your free consult within less than 2 days, 2 days max. If it's longer, the chances that they talk themselves out of it or start to feel better are really, really high, or want to go for a walk because it's nice out and they no-show are really high. This small tweak is going to make all the difference. So make sure you have them available within 2 days. The other reason, though, it also reduces your sales cycle. Do you know what that means? So I know sales cycle is a business term. Let me just tell you your sales cycle. And I'm curious, I'm going to say what it is, and then I want to know if you know what yours is. It's the time from when they click book now to when they actually come in for their paid appointment. Does anybody know what your sales cycle is? When I click book, let me be more clear. When I book the free consult and then see you and pay you for my treatment, how long? Anybody know? Let's say it takes me a week to get a free consult with you, okay? And then another week to actually see you for paid therapy. How long is your sales cycle? 2 weeks. So what you want to do is reduce your sales cycle. This is the mind-blowing part. If you reduce your sales cycle, you actually double your income. How? Because the clients flowing in, you're flowing through them faster. So a lot of you that are really busy and wanting just to convert your consults, then you just hire people and then you allow them to book even faster, reduce your sales cycle. Okay, Kyle says 1 week. So 1 week actually is good, Kyle. So you're there. I would want to know, Kyle, can you reduce it anymore, right? Like, can you tweak it? Do you need to hire? Because it's only going to help you help more people. I highly suggest having your admin, please get an admin, QA your online bookings. So you're on top of your sales cycle staying low. So that's the process. And now I want to move on to, what do you actually say on the call? Like, what is important? This is what you want to do. You want to create a gap between where they are now and where they want to be. Of course, there's already a gap because that's why you fill the gap. But this may sound weird, what I'm about to say. You want to let them sit in their pain. So this is where they are now, and you offer a solution to their problem. I want you on the first 15 minutes of the 20-minute consult to let them sit in their pain. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's so mean. It's necessary. Human beings don't like change. They book the consult with you and they may not actually, they're still afraid for change. Change is really scary. We love the status quo. I might be hating my life, depressed, not sleeping, hating my partner, but terrified to actually make a change. The psychotherapists here know that. We see this every day. Let them sit in their pain. And to me, that is me taking a stand for them, where I'm like, I'm not going to let you continue to live like this. Like, tell me about what's going on, let them feel it. And then they'll be motivated to book because they're like, oh, this feels uncomfortable. I'm curious how that feels as I'm saying that. We can talk. I'm going to chat with you at the end. So exactly what you're going to say is this, and I give you the script. I'm going to tell you how to get that very soon. It might sound something like, tell me a little bit about what's going on for you right now. Sit in the pain, sit in the pain, sit in the pain. Stay there, stay. Don't leave. It's uncomfortable for you too. Don't leave. Sit. That is their life. Let them sit in it. Motivate them. Take a stand for them. Then what is your treatment goal? Okay. What is your treatment goal? And then you're going to fill the gap and tell them the approaches you use to get to your goal, how to get them to the solution. I'm going to give you the script. I want you to personalize it. Of course, you're super successful. A lot of you, I already saw your conversion rate. Personalize it, make it yours. Of course, If you have a team, share it with them and role play. If you are looking to increase your conversion rate of your team, and if you don't have one yet, I would love to help you get there. It's all about, it's hard to clone yourself. I tried 55 times. And so what I give you, when I give you the script, I want you to role play until they get it. Because the ideal thing is we want their conversion rate to be as high as yours. A couple other things about the script. Do not solve their problem on the phone. Don't do it. I know it's uncomfortable and you've got lots to say, but I would not solve their problem on the phone. And here's something that your colleagues aren't doing that if you start doing is going to set you apart. Are you ready? On that consult call, I want you to book 4 sessions. So, okay, I can book you for 4 therapy sessions. This is how much they are. But I typically book 4 because, of course, you're not going to get results, right? You're not going to get results if it's all spread out. So committing at the beginning and gaining momentum to get to your goal, does that work with you? When I did this thing, like this small thing, my therapist got busy really quick because one client was 4 sessions, next client, 4 sessions, next client, 4 sessions. Do you see that? Do that. If some of you are saying you're personally not that busy, start doing that. They could cancel anytime, of course, within 48 hours, but it's like every Wednesday at 2, I have a commitment with Nicole. I know I'm committed, every month. Like I'm committed, for the next month. You also want to keep your no-show rate down. And thank you, Jane, again, get their credit card. Very important. That's going to increase the chances that they show up for all those paid sessions. Go over your cancellation policy. Yes, do that on the consult. And lastly, send reminders. All the reminders, I'm sure you send these, but it's like so important. Make it really easy for them to show. Do you want the script? I would love to give it to you. So why don't you know what? Message me on Instagram, Nicole.McCance method, Nicole.McCance method. Haley actually can throw that in the chat for you. And why don't you just message me 3 words, consult, call, script, and I'll give it to you today. Just drop 3 words, consult, call, script, and it is yours. I walk you through everything I just said, exactly what to say, how to say it, so you can be super busy that you don't know what to do with yourself, and maybe you can even hire. And of course, follow if you love what I'm chatting about. I do tons and tons of videos every day. I'm also actually, tell me in the chat, how many of you, when you book clients, book multiple appointments already? 4 or more. Okay, perfect. Stefani does. Okay, some don't. Yes. So Lauren, yes, like just this small little thing makes such a difference. So I would like you to do this even on your paid appointments. They do a consult. You're booking 4 sessions. They come in for the first one. Then you're going to book. There's always going to be 4 booked. And of course, like I always say, that it's just easier because then, Wednesdays at 2, you come in and as long as you give 48 hours, you can cancel. A lot of the time they don't. It's like getting that commitment and they get excited. They need to be guided by us. Now, are any of you tracking your metrics at all? So tracking how many consults you get. Actually, I'll ask you this. Do you know how many consults you got last week, the full 7 days of last week? You don't have to tell me how many, but do you know? 0. We'll get you there, and we'll get you there. Okay. So you do know. Okay. You have to be tracking. How do you know if you're growing if you're not actually on top of your metrics? You don't know your progress because you actually don't know where you are, right? So I suggest that you have a consult call tracking sheet. And this is what I would put in it. A column for present. So here's the cool part. I actually had this for all of my therapy. So it's in the Google Drive. That's important. So it's like you have access to it. Your admin does. Eventually, if you hire, when you hire, all your therapists are going to be in this one sheet. So you put the presenting issue, like why this person, you're going to put their name, or just their, like Jane ID, if you don't want to put names, presenting issue, and then why they didn't book. And this is where you're going to see trends. Like, okay, no one's booking because they have to call insurance, or, that you're going to see why people aren't booking. This is where you'll see trends. I would do one subsheet for every month. Even better, why I want you to do this is your admin is going to follow up. Did you know 80% of sales is in the follow-up? That means that a lot of people may not book right on the consult because they have to talk to their partner if you're doing couples counseling, or find a babysitter, or all the things. 80% is in the follow-up. Are you following up? Are you following up? Tell me. And what that means is if they don't book on the consult, you send them an email or a phone call. You have to be fun. Here's the beautiful part. Your competitors, and I actually don't even like to say that word because I really try to come from a place of abundance. Like, we're not competing. There's lots of people we can all help. But the people just like you, the other clinics doing the exact same thing as you on your street or virtual, they're not following up, which means you'll probably get the client if you're the one who sends them that email or calls them. And it can be as simple as, hey, just wanted to follow up. We had our consult call a few days ago, and your admin does this. This is, again, where you're going to begin to see trends. And people, if you think about it, a lot of people who, like, let's say they're depressed, they're not motivated. So they want to, but think about your own life. Like, I've had to go to the chiropractor. I was sharing with everybody, I have like a yoga injury, believe it or not. You can actually injure yourself in yoga. And I've had to go to the chiropractor for a very long time. Have I? No. We all but do I want to? Yes. If they called me on the phone right now, would I book? Yes. Think of your own life. Be the one that calls. Be the one that calls. Be the one that emails. And when I say be the one, I actually don't mean you. Delegate that to your admin, because I'd love to help you focus on more growth things and not be doing the admin. You should not be doing your admin, by the way. Okay. I do have a script also, not a script, but a template for the follow-ups and for the doing all of your tracking. I have tons and tons of templates in my business coaching program. I wonder, would it be okay if I take like 2 seconds to tell you a little bit about my program? I only work with psychotherapists. So if you are tell me in the chat, actually, if you are a psychotherapist. So that means psychologist, social worker, marriage and family therapist, any of those. I would love to know. Let me just quickly tell you a little bit about my program. So actually here, I'm going to, if you are visual, let's see if this works. Hold on. Okay. Can you see? Just tell me. I think you can see my screen. If you cannot see my screen, let me know. Okay. So I have a business coaching program where I take people to a 7-figure group practice. And I would love to just tell you what that includes, because I know that growth that you've never dreamed of is possible, and all the templates and things I have for you. So the program is called the Clinic Growth Map. And I meet with you every single week for 6 months, where you bring all of your questions, whether you're Canadian or American, we work together. I have 2 separate groups because Americans, I help you build private pay. It also comes with an accountability team where you bring all of your questions about marketing and how to stay busy and all of the things, and you get answers within 24 hours, which includes office hours where you sit down with the accountability coach. Tell me in the chat if you were like, I'm the type of person that needs accountability. Yes, I will vanish. You need to come find me. Tell me in the chat if that is you. Yes. Okay, good, Ivana. The best part. So the truth is, when I grew my practice really fast, I was like, oh, I didn't know this was possible in our industry. Okay. And then when a psychiatrist bought it, and by the way, I said, no, this is my baby. I was like, nope. And then he said to me, Nicole, I can offer your team pension plans, training incentives, like all the things that he owns a huge conglomerate. And I was like, oh my God, okay, wait, maybe I can just exit. And then I did. And then I did have a moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to retire. What do I do? And then it hit me. I'll take it to my peers. What if I give them all the things, all my templates, all my systems? So in my program, I actually give you my marketing plans, my hiring, like the interview questions, the contracts, every single thing that got me to 7 figures in 3 years. This is for psychotherapists only, but I want you to know it's almost like if I know how to build a house and you're my apprentice and I walk you through, okay, then do this, then do this. At the end of that apprenticeship, what are you going to have? A house. It might look a little bit different than mine, maybe because your preferences are different, but I truly believe if you have the formula, you can implement it and get the very similar results. In addition to all my templates, we have coaching opportunities you can see on this sheet every single week, whether it's HR, accounting, your mindset. A lot of this is a shift in your mindset, right? And then, of course, all the marketing and branding and Google Ads and SEO. Like, how do you it's 2 things. How do you bring the clients in? Today, we talked about converting the clients, but it's also, if you want to grow into a group, how do you actually find the good people? So I think that you're probably here because you're feeling really, really lost and you are so sick of doing it on your own. And I felt that way too. And I'm so excited to tell you that it is possible for you to be as busy, beyond your wildest dreams. I would love to work with you for the next 6 months. I would love to help you. It's what I do now. Now I help therapists, and before I helped clients, but now I help therapists grow. If you are interested, again, if you're you need to be a psychotherapist or a mental health professional, but if you are interested, I would love for you to apply for a fast track call. So Haley's going to drop the link in the chat. A fast track call is just a 30-minute, totally free call where she looks at exactly like what are your biggest struggles? What is your ultimate goal and the fastest way to get you there? I'm going to open up my screen in a second and answer all your questions about all the things, consult calls, all the things. If you are a therapist and you're like, oh my God, I know that I'm meant for more. I know I've always wanted to do this. Like I want to work with somebody who's actually done it themselves and got the results and replicated them. Then I would book a call. It is free. And make sure on the call that you mention that you're from the Jane workshop because she will give you a big fat discount. So make sure to mention that on the call. I would hate for you to miss out if you're like, oh, I want to, but not right now. Like, I feel like this is my future, but not today. It might actually be worth still booking a call. And for those of you that aren't ready for group yet, because I see you. You're just like, oh, I'm not busy enough yet. I'm not busy enough for a group yet, but I just want to get busier as a solo practice. Still book a call. I just released a completely reasonably priced program where I give you every single marketing thing I did, all the marketing, all the advertising, exactly how to do it, all the templates. It is yours. It is yours because I know you don't have the time to do it. If you implement it, I promise you will get phenomenal results. And there's a payment plan and a bunch of things. So just bring all your questions to that fast track call. And I just don't really want to present. Like, I want to just be with you and answer your questions. So I've given you a whole lot. You probably have questions about all the things I said. So let me know. Haley, I don't know if you want to unmute, if there's any questions.
Yep. So there's actually about 5 or 6 that were coming through the chat as we were going. So I will start from the top. Yes. So Kristen's first question was your thoughts on telephone versus video consult calls.
Great question. We do phone because it's just easier, honestly. And you can be in your pajamas, which is nice. So we just did phone. And of course you would block your number. you call them and your number is blocked.
Thank you. And Kristen throughout the chat had 2 other questions. So just how many people book consult calls and then no show? And then how long until you should follow up after a consult call?
It really, so I would like you to track to know what yours is. I would know exactly what mine is. I know what all my members are, but what I would start doing is you can pull this from Jane. We all love Jane because the metrics are phenomenal. Nothing compares to Jane's metrics. So you can pull from Jane how many booked, how many showed, how many no showed. And week after week, guys, every single Monday, I would have your admin just pull it. Don't do that. I want you to focus on growth things and not admin things, please. Okay. And then you'll know your rate right away. In general, it is higher. People, they haven't met you yet. So they're more likely to be like, it's a sunny day. I'm just and it's free. Like, what's a big deal? I just won't show. But like all the things you're going to do is going to highly reduce that no-show rate, but track it. Make sure you track it, make sure you know. And once you start implementing the things, it will go down. And then the second question was, there was a second part to that question, Haley. Sorry.
Yes. So how long, I believe, should you wait till you follow up after?
Yeah. We sent an email 1 day later and a phone call. If there was no response, then we give them a shout 48 hours later. So let's put yourself in the client's shoes for a second. You do a consult, you need help. You're motivated enough to do that consult. And then you didn't book. And a lot of the time it's insurance. Like, oh shoot, am I covered for that? Now you might be thinking 1 day is not enough. Like, holy cow, give them time to figure it out. But also know that's strategic. The reason I want you calling a day later is because they're really, excited, they're excited. You got them excited about the change that can happen. And you want to get them like that momentum, get them while they're still excited. If you wait too long, they're going to be like, who are you again? What consult? So I would do it a day later, get them on the phone, like, hey, and then of course, if an email 2 days later, if you can't get them on the phone.
Okay, we had another question from Lily who asked, do you recommend requiring a credit card for online booking, even for consults? I find people tend not to book consults if a credit card is required. However, I do want people booking full sessions online to have to put their card on file.
Yes, I love this question, Lily. We tried both. So I'm a big fan of data metrics, like let's do A/B testing and try. So we had there was lots, 55, that's a lot of people, right? A lot of therapists, lots and lots of sessions happening. And I was getting annoyed with the no-shows. So think about it. If you yourself, one person has maybe 2 no-shows a week, times that by 55, I'm like, oh my gosh, let's require a credit card to book the consult. Let's try it out. Couple things happen. Don't do it. Do not do it. Really glad you asked this question. Don't do it. People got really angry. We actually got a bad Google review, which we all know is so stressful. I'm like, really? Because the guy's like, he just was really angry. So he needed to tell everybody. So that happened. But also our consults went down. So let me be clear. When I say get their credit card, it is not requiring it on the online booking. Write this down. Make it easy. Make it easy. Easy to book. It's bookable online, and it's a couple of buttons, of course, creating a profile, and you're done. When you're on the consult, and Lily, you'll see this in my script. So I walk you through. So don't worry, it's there. You or your team, that's when, after I've built that 15 minutes of rapport, then I'm going to say, and this is how I say it. Hey, Susie, listen, I don't want to spend any time during our paid appointment on billing. Why don't I get your credit card now? And then with your permission, we save it, and then I can just bill automatically. Does that work for you? And they're like, oh my God, you're going to save me time during my paid appointment? Yes. And then it increases the chances that they actually show up for their paid appointment. I hope that makes sense, Lily.
Thank you. And we had Anne Eves in the chat. You kind of already answered this, but are you suggesting that the paid appointment is just a few days after the consult?
Yes. And even if, honestly, this is what I train my members. If you're on the phone, I don't know if any of you have interns or anybody on your team, so they might be less busy. I would offer a paid appointment today if you have one. It sounds like you're really struggling. There's a lot of pain. Listen, I'm available if you have time today. That in an ideal world, that's like the most beautiful sales cycle. One day, hello, right? But yes, at the very most 2 days, because think about it. They want help now. And then the consult, they haven't gotten the help. So we need to get it to them as soon as possible. It's going to grow your business and it's going to help them.
Thank you. And from our other Anne in the chat, Anne Fuller, she had asked for you to describe the process again. So I believe this is while you were going through how the consult call goes. Do you suggest after each consult that the therapist puts it in the notes for the client?
So is the question, do they write notes for the consult?
I believe that's the question.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me know, Anne. I see you in the chat. So let me know if that's your question. Great question. So we would have them jot. So here's the thing. Make sure they do not sign a consent form. They are not a client. You don't want that responsibility on the consult. This is a consult. This is a meet and greet. You're not a client. Once you book your appointment, you're a client. Okay. So just note that. So people do it differently. I didn't want a chart note because that's not a session. And so if they're just for liability reasons, honestly, I supervise a lot of people. What we did, because you also want to remember like what the heck we talked about, right? So we would put it in, in Jane, in the profile, there's that beautiful note section at the bottom right. We talk to our admin in there. We do all sorts of nice things in there. But they would jot notes there. So it's not a client yet, but if they book, I've got some notes here, just very general notes, right? That like, okay, I can jog my memory. Okay, perfect.
Beautiful. And Anne had also asked, you mentioned a 48-hour cancellation policy, but we use 24. Is that too short?
Okay. I'm so happy that you asked this because I'm all about tweaks. Make a little tweak, make a big impact, right? I think it's really common practice in all the industries that are here to have 24, but I highly recommend that you change that to 48. Here's why. If someone cancels and gives you 1 day notice, it is really hard to fill that spot. And I want you to be busy enough that there's somebody else waiting for that spot on your wait list, right? So I literally am doing it. So you have 2 days, and this is like magic. When we did this, our therapists were constantly busy because one no-showed, plunk another in, one no-showed, plunk another in. And it wasn't stressful. Like, shoot, we have 8 hours. Like, how are we supposed to reach somebody? So it's for that reason. And clients are used to it. There's more and more clinics doing it.
Beautiful. And then we have a question from Joe. I was curious to know, as you grew your clinic and had increasingly more employees, did you experiment with offering equity to certain employees in the company? If so, did you find this a helpful way to grow the practice and improve employee retention satisfaction?
Yes. Joe or Jill? I just want to make sure I got it.
Joe.
Okay, Joe. Hey, Joe. Don't do it. Somebody asked, one of my coaching members asked this the other day. And this is like lived, of course, just like experience. Maybe I'm a control freak, Joe, but I just wanted to have full control. Now you can give them shares and like they're not controlling shares and all those things, but I'm so glad I didn't, because I was like, that was maybe a thought that was suggested to me, because when I sold, it was just like, it was easy. It was like, okay, this is what I own. Here you go. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to, okay, now I have all these shareholders and making it way more complicated. There are other ways to make your people happy, and it doesn't have to be that. You know where you start, Joe? You ask them. We guess like, oh, maybe they want this, maybe they want that. But sometimes it's just really simple. They want autonomy. They want training. They want a leader who actually says, what is your 2023 revenue goal? And how do I get you there? Because when you grow, I grow, right? So I would start there, like other ways to make them happy, because it can make selling difficult. And I want to say one other thing. We had access to one of the best psychologists in Toronto. I won't say names because it's a very small world. And she worked at our clinic. She was so good, renowned even. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let's make her a supervisor. I'm sure she'd be good. So I bumped her up to supervisor, kind of like saying in some ways, oh, they seem like a good person. Let's let them into the company. Let's give them some shares. It should be fine. It was the worst decision I had made as an owner. She was really, really a micromanager, and it almost led to a bunch of people leaving. And I didn't know that because she was a good psychologist. I had no idea she'd be a terrible like a manager of people. And so then it makes me think of you, Joe, like you don't know this shareholder, let's say they want, I don't know, they want to give feedback or do like have more of a role in the company. I just know that it was easy to let that person like to, bump them back down and remove them from, just put them in a better role. But to me, it might be a little bit harder with a shareholder. Long answer, but I hope that made sense.
Amazing. We have a few more questions coming in through the chat. So one from Angela Thomas. Do you charge a no-show fee?
No. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Please, everybody charge for your time. So if they don't give you notice, so you're my client and I say, I have a 48-hour cancellation policy, which by the way, you checked off in your Jane, in the intake process, like the consent form. So you've checked that off and you cancel. Now, if it's a medical emergency, I'm not going to charge you. But I really think it's important to hold boundaries. And if you grow into a group practice, your therapist will also expect to be paid if I'd have people driving in like a half an hour into the office, right? So we were as long as you say it everywhere that we do charge the full session fee if you cancel, make it very, very clear and it's agreed upon, people will pay it. It's common practice. The only time I wouldn't is if they were really angry, you know what I mean? And so I would say it's like, we don't want a really, really angry person. So we would hold the boundary and maybe like reduce it by 50% or maybe waive it the one time. But my admin was really clear that the next time it'll be our normal policy. But yes, if you don't do this, you will be resentful after a while, right?
Thank you. We have two more. So one from Lauren. Any advice on getting more consults?
I have a whole program for you, Lauren. The first place, so I'm all about digital marketing because it works while you sleep. And by digital marketing, I mean SEO and Google Ads. I teach you exactly how to do that. The first place I would look, Lauren, is your website. Whether we like it or not, everybody goes there. And it doesn't matter if they find you on Google, their sister or neighbor could have told them about you. But we always Google people. So they're going to Google, they're going to land on your website. And does it convert? Is it well branded? It tells me if you're not getting the consult, it's probably not well branded. I give you a template for your Psychology Today profile. I put you in touch with a branding expert. That's why we have like free audits in my program where they'll look at your website and give you the honest truth about why it's not converting. So we look at all those places and then set it up and then all the clients start to flow. And then I teach you how to convert those clients and then to hire people. Because a lot of the times people in my program can't handle the flow of clients, so they have to hire. But yes, start with your website. Yeah.
Okay, and our last question on that note of hiring is Stephanie. I want to hire an admin, but worry that it will cost too much. What do you suggest in hiring an admin as you grow, rather than when you're extremely busy, but there's lots of funds coming in?
Yeah, such a good question. The money thing stops everybody. Just today on Instagram, I did a story on that. Please watch that. Where do I start? Pay your admin $20 an hour. Don't pay less. I truly believe you get what you pay for. Doesn't matter if you're in the States or in Canada. Um, you want to hire. Okay, first let me rewind for a second. You don't need someone who's part-time. I think a lot of people think, oh gosh, I can't afford $20 an hour times 20 hours. I don't even have that much work. And then they do nothing. But instead, I want you to find a psychology student. I give you the job posting and the process of how to find them. I also help you find a volunteer to do your social media and your blogs. Start there. And then a lot of psychology. Well, first, if you're a therapist, I find people who want to be me one day, who want to go to grad school, who are super bright, who would want to work in my practice. And a lot of them, I would start my admin at 1 hour a day. That's it. And a lot of students are okay with that. Like they're used to juggling and working kind of all the time, evenings and weekends. They have classes everywhere. And then they just bill you. So they're an employee that's hourly, and then they bill you. And so they might do 3 hours in 1 week and like 5 hours the next. And eventually you'll work them up, which is perfect. And then you just work them up to part-time because they're students. So no, the job posting that I give you is for students that are like, it's more like it is an employee. It's more casual hours. They do exist. I would absolutely do it. It does not have to be part-time or full-time.
Thank you. Thank you. That is all of our questions from the chat.
My pleasure. Stephanie, Lauren, amazing guys. It was such a pleasure being with you. Do the small tweaks. I'll end with that and back to you, Kristen.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nicole. That was such a wonderful session. You had so many helpful tips, and thank you everyone for your amazing questions. We are right on time. We're actually 5 minutes early. So before we wrap up, I just have a few more links to share with everyone before we go. So just share my screen here. Okay, great. Yeah, so everyone, thank you again for coming today. There's a couple of resources here for you to learn a little bit more about Nicole. I know Haley already dropped some links in the chat there. So go ahead and visit her website, connect with her on Instagram. You can DM her to get the script that she was talking about today as well. So definitely go ahead and connect on there. And then my last slide here, I'd love to go ahead and invite anybody that isn't already a part of the Jane community yet. Feel free to join our community on Facebook just to continue the conversation. We will have some more webinars and sessions coming up in the next few months. So if there's any specific topics you want us to cover, feel free to let us know in the Facebook group or on Instagram, or shoot us an email. We always love seeing what you want to learn about. So again, thanks so much. Thanks so much for your time today, Nicole. And thanks again, everyone, for tuning in today. It was lovely to talk to you all.